Hey everyone, I'm here with Pops and we just got back from almost a month-long road trip in Texas.
And we got some great tips for you for your visit, particularly if it's your first visit.
Let us know what tips we left off in the comments and let's jump into it.
The first thing is you got to know your geography. Texas is a massive state with very, very diverse different areas that you can visit. So plan your trip accordingly. If you're interested in outdoor activities, consider visiting Hill Country or Big Bend National Park. It's awesome. If you like big cities, try Dallas or Houston, San Antonio or Austin. And if you want to be near the water, go to the Gulf Coast. Visit Corpus Christi and Galveston. Those are great options.
Our next recommendation is to try the barbecue in Texas. We have an entire video on this that you can see up here, but Texas has some of the best barbecue in the entire United States. No visit to Texas is complete without trying some of their amazing barbecue. While you should go to the main spots like Franklin or Snow's, don't be afraid of trying some of the off-the-beaten-path locations as well. Some of the best barbecue in the state comes from food trucks or even gas stations.
When you go to Texas, you have to embrace the culture. Texas has a unique culture that you won't find virtually anywhere else. One of the best ways to experience the cowboy culture of Texas is to visit Fort Worth. Oh my gosh. Here you can watch a rodeo, see twice daily cattle drive, visit the world's largest honky-tonk. It's just a great way to get a taste of old Texas. But there's also an incredibly beautiful and rich Native American culture that you can learn about while you're there and experience. And finally, another way to learn about Texas culture is to visit the Buc-ee State Historical Museum in Austin.
Our next recommendation is to plan for a lot of travel time. Texas is a massive state and it can take a long time to get between the cities. For example, driving from Dallas to El Paso can easily take 9 hours without stopping. And between major cities like Dallas and Houston, you'll be driving for at least 3 hours. You also want to factor in extra time for driving or taking public transportation when you're in the big cities, as they often have traffic. Even with a few weeks, you really need to plan what you want to see, as it's impossible to see the entire state of Texas without probably a lifetime of exploring.
Our next recommendation is just to not be afraid of the big cities. Texas has some amazing big cities: Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, Austin. Each city has its own unique attractions and culture. So be sure to explore them all. You should plan like 2 to 3 days per city to get a chance to take in all that they have to offer. A few things that we recommend are the San Antonio River Walk, the Space Center in Houston, Lady Bird Lake and the Bats in Austin, and the Six Fluor Museum in Dallas. The cities have so much to offer, but these are just a few options that we took in and particularly enjoyed.
Our next recommendation is to be prepared for the weather. Texas weather is often unpredictable, with periods of heavy rain and then warm sun and humidity. You just never really know what you're going to get. In the summer, it can be incredibly hot in places like Houston, and you really want to plan for that if you're trying to do outdoor activities. Winters are generally mild, but the state is so big and you never know if you're going to get a bigger rainstorm or even an occasional snowstorm in some parts of the state. Basically, just bring your swimsuit if you're going to the Gulf Coast and bring your jackets whenever you're traveling in Texas.
Then be sure to take advantage of the state parks. Texas has over 80 different state parks and all across the state. Consider camping or hiking in one of these parks to experience the natural beauty of the state. Josh loved the ones in the Texas Hill Country, like Enchanted Rock and Hamilton Pool, but there are also many caves in the state parks that you can visit as well. But don't miss Big Bend National Park. That place is just amazing. It's a must stop.
2 thumbs up. Next up, don't forget to visit the Gulf Coast. Texas has over 600 miles of coastline with many amazing adventures you can have and great seafood as well. Consider visiting one of the coastal towns for a beach getaway during your trip. Many tourists forget to visit these areas outside of the busy times like spring break, but the Gulf Coast is beautiful, and cities like Corpus Christi and Galveston have a lot of charm that are worth a day trip. Plus, you can access the Gulf Coast easily from San Antonio or even Houston with only a 1-hour drive.
You all know from watching our videos that I love learning about the history of the place that we're going to visit, and the story of Texas independence and even its role in the Civil War is fascinating. Take time to visit historical sites and learn about the state's past. You can have some truly unique experiences there as well, like staying overnight in the 17th century Presidio La Bahia, which is something that we got to do. And of course, you have to consider visiting two wildly different places, the Alamo and the Sixth Floor Museum. I would also say, before you go, look into the history a little bit so you know what to look for, and then when you see these places so that you know what you're looking at.
Pops will leave some recommendations for history books if you want to read them in the description. Our last and final recommendation is that you have to visit a Buc-ee's. I mean, can you say you even went to Texas if you didn't visit a Buc-ee's?
And a part of the culture.
Buc-ee's is a loved roadside stop in Texas on the drive between basically any of the state's major cities. It's the largest gas station you'll ever visit, with basically everything you could want on a road trip. Buc-ee's has a cult following and people swear by their brisket and of course the beaver nuggets. You don't want to leave Texas without visiting a Buc-ee's. So that's it for our recommendations. Of course, we only spent a month in Texas. I'm sure there's people who have lived there their entire lives that have much better tips than us. So be sure to leave them in the comments and you can see all of our Texas content in the description. We'll see you on the next one.